Okay, so my audio kind of cut out in this particular part, but right here I'm scrolling through my news feed. You can see where I've liked particular posts. In order to like a post, you would double tap twice on the post. Right here, I'm just scrolling, showing you how certain posts can have multiple photos on them. Right here, we're clicking on, so here I'm just kind of showing you stories, how you would click through the different stories, viewing other people's stories, and we'll get into how to create them for yourself here in a second. These stories themselves are only available for 24 hours unless you archive them, in which case you could create a highlight. Here I'm showing you different highlights that I've created. It's just a way to kind of categorize past stories and put them all kind of in one place, that under one category. That kind of makes sense. So here I have all of our newer listings under one highlight, and we'll get into how to highlight things and how to create stories and how that all kind of ties together here in a little bit. So here we're going to create a new story. So you'll click on that. In the left hand corner you'll see a little camera icon, and you'll click on that, and from there it opens up your camera. You could take a photo if you wanted to. If you start swiping left or right, there's different options for you can create, which just means that you would be posting text or anything besides a photo on a story. Text, GIFs, drawing, any of that stuff. Here, if you saw before, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little photo little box. If you click on that, it'll open your camera roll, and it'll allow you to scroll through there and choose photos. The date will automatically pop up, and by pulling any item in your story down, it'll open up the trash can, and you could just kind of drop that into the trash can if you decide it's something you don't want. Here I'm just showing how in the top right corner there's a little square smiley face. It's third to the right, and when you click on that icon, it's going to bring up all kinds of different kind of add-ons that you can add to your post. So if we click on this little sliding heart eye emoji, we could pop that on our photo, and people can kind of rate your photo in that way. You can type here. It'll allow you to type and ask a question or say whatever you want. It won't allow you to swipe right away, but as soon as you post it, it'll allow others that are viewing your story to take that emoji with their finger and slide it across that bar and kind of give your story a rating, or your question a rating. And as you can see here, you can make that emoji any which emoji you want to. Let's see, you can add a location, and if you tap it, it's going to turn different colors. I think you get kind of a transparent one, a rainbow one. You could also grab it, pinch it with 2 fingers, and it'll make it smaller and bigger, or you can tap it with your finger, or drag it with your finger and drag it around the post to position it wherever you want it to go. And that's the same for any kind of little add-on that you want to put on top of your story photo. Here I'm just showing where you can mention somebody. You could also just mention them in a text as long as you put an @ before their name. You can add hashtags. Again, you could just do that in text as long as you put the little hashtag icon before all the text. There's just some fun things to play with. You can add the date back on if you want to add it back. You can do a poll. It'll allow you to text there. It will also allow you to text in the little white boxes below. You can add whatever you want. You could add text, you could add emojis here. Anything that's available in your keyboard, you can add here. And so this will allow people to vote just one way or the other on whatever question you ask or your post. You can't actually vote right now, but whenever it's posted, it's kind of the same as the poll before the sliding bar. You'll just click on one side or the other, and then after the 24 hours is up, you can go back to your story and you can actually see which side won, and who voted for what. And this is kind of a good as far as interacting with and engaging with followers. So if you wanted to delete it, you would hit that little X in the top left corner, like so. Here I'm actually just going to play around and create a story, show you how in the top right corner, the two little A's will allow you to enter text, but you can also just tap anywhere on the photo and it will open up, allow you to start typing and enter text. So click anywhere on your photo and it will allow you to do that. Right here, I'm clicking on that middle oval at the top of your screen to change the font of my text. Here I clicked on the little box with the A and the star in the left-hand corner, and just playing around with the different colors that it kind of gives the text. That A and star box gives the text a background. Here I use the eyedropper feature in the colors to pull that blue color from the bow in the photo, and it pulls that color and uses it as your text color or your background color. And I'm just playing around with it, sizing it, pinching to size it, and moving my finger around to position it in the photo where I want it to go. But in the top right corner, you can see where there's a little squiggly line, and that will allow me to draw on top of the photo. And there's different markers per se that you can use to draw. And you can see up here in the top middle, all of the four little circles will indicate what kind of marker you're using. And on the side, the left hand side, you can see there where I'm making my line thicker and thinner. And so that would be just the regular marker, a thin line at the bottom down here, bottom of your screen. You can scroll to use all kinds of different different colors, and you can also see where there's also an eyedrop or a dropper icon in the bottom left hand corner that will allow you to pull any color from the photo. And I'm just using my eraser that's the right side of the marker options there. Neon marker, and making like red neon little stars. I know they don't look like stars, but they're supposed to be stars. So here I'm kind of showing some different options for including links in your post. And as far as I could tell right now, all you can really link is videos that you've already posted, IGTV, which would be Instagram TV posts. We'll kind of go in depth about that in the next lesson, exactly what that is and what that entails. But I'm also going to look more into the links and see if maybe we could link URLs that'll go to like our website and different listings and stuff like that. And right now I'm just kind of playing with these filters. This is actually, I just figured out that I could do this. I don't play around with stories a whole lot because I try to kind of stick to a very business professional generic theme throughout all of my posts. But this was kind of a fun one. Just playing around with it and showing you what kind of filters I can throw on there. And you'll find those filters right next to the link icon at the very top it's the little round smiley face. So that's fun. I think I show you also that you can save your story. So that little down arrow next to the smiley face will allow you to save that, and it'll go straight to your camera roll. And usually if you have more than one post in your story, it will ask you if you want to save your whole story or just that one particular video or photo, whatever it is. And so you'll have that option as well. So now you can see that whenever you click your little icon in the bottom left corner, it will post your story. So here I'm just kind of going over how we're going to actually just create a story. So this is your create feature on your story where you can just type and insert GIFs and stickers and all kinds of that fun stuff, but you're not necessarily posting a photo from your camera roll or taking a photo. So yeah, these are all the different, you scroll and see all the different options for things that you could do with your story. And most of the time this is used just to type something out. And in the bottom right corner you can see there, I'm kind of switching through the different colors. So here I'm just explaining that if you're looking at a post, you're looking at the caption on the post, sometimes it's not going to show the full caption. So you'll click more. Usually it's towards the end of the text that you can see underneath the post, and it will give you the full amount of text. And Instagram just does this because it's mostly a visual application. It's intended mostly for photos and videos and less for text. So they're just trying to kind of condense it. But you can always hit that more button and read more of the caption. So now we're going to talk about how you would make a post. Right here you'll click on this little button, this plus button with the square around it, and it will bring you to your camera roll photos, and you can kind of scroll through and choose which one or ones you want to use for your post. If you wanted to do multiple, you'd click on this little overlapping square in the far right corner of the photo. It'll allow you to actually tap on multiple photos, and when the photo has a little blue number in the top right corner of it, that means you've selected it. And from there you'll click next, and right here I'm just kind of looking at different filters I can throw on the photo if I decided I wanted to. Kind of changes the feel or the color of the photo. So from here we're going to click next, and we'll be able to see we'll be able to add a caption, we'll be able to tag people at a location, all kinds of different options here. Here I'm just kind of typing a bunch of stuff as an example of what I would write as a caption. And I can click tag people, and then as soon as you tap on an area, just anywhere inside of the photo, you can tag people by typing their name, and their little handle will pop up, and as soon as you select it, it tags them in the photo. Here I'm kind of just scrolling through my locations that have kind of been saved. Ones that I use regularly will get saved in that little bar. You could also search for any location. Usually when I'm posting photos of different listings, I'll just do the city and state. So like if it's in Rogers, I'll just do Rogers, Arkansas. Here you could see that you have options to post on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Your default, if you have a Facebook account that's tied to your Instagram, it will always be blue, meaning that it will automatically post to your Facebook. You'll have to turn it off, like so, if you do not want it And then you can also switch the Twitter on. Twitter's not really super compatible with Instagram, so a lot of times if you post an Instagram post on your Twitter, it'll just show up like as a URL or just a bunch of text. And so yeah, it's not super compatible. So here we're going to talk about some advanced settings. So in the bottom left corner, you can see a little button that says Advanced Settings. And you'll click on that, and it'll give you a few more options. You can turn off your commenting. I explained to some people in the class yesterday that a lot of celebrities like to turn off their commenting because they get a lot of negative comments on their posts, so they'll just turn them off and then nobody can comment. You can still like, but you can't comment. So another great option is to allow businesses to promote your posts. So if you turn that on, the businesses that you tag in your posts can go and create an ad out of your post, and we'll kind of get into more of that later. We'll also talk about how you can write alternate text for posts. So you saw just a second ago, I actually clicked on that, and it allows you a space for each, not each post, but each photo within your post. If you do multiple photos, it will allow you to write a separate caption for each one. And I think I'll go into an example about that in a little bit, so we'll touch on that again. So here I'm going to touch on creating a highlight, editing your highlight, and this is just highlighting your stories. So you can create a story and it will be available for 24 hours, but many times people want to keep those photos, or they kind of want to take them and organize them into a neat little file, and we call those highlights. And this is an example of one of the highlights that we have on our page. It's all the new listings. We also do closings, house tours. I've gone through and chosen over time all of those particular kinds of posts and just kind of organized them in one particular area for people that are new to our page, visiting our page, just want to look at it, they're just interested. So here you'll see, if you click the plus button on the new space next to all of your highlights, it'll open up this selection of all of your archived highlights, or all of your stories. So this is anything that you've ever posted on your story, ever. And you can kind of go through and tap which ones you want to include in a particular highlight. So if you have like all your new listings, all your open houses, stuff like that, you go through and select them, and you'll see the little blue circle show up in the corner there. And here you can give your highlight a name. You can, when you choose edit your cover, you can choose which particular photo is going to be like the cover photo of that particular highlight. And in order to change that and make it like specific, like I have a different kind of icon for every one. I kind of did that in Canva. Super easy. Go into Canva and type in Instagram cover photo, and it can walk you through it. But we'll go into Canva more in depth and I'll lesson in the next few weeks, actually. So now you can see where our new highlight is at the very beginning, and we're kind of just scrolling through here, but it's at the very beginning of all your other highlights on your page. So here I'm going to show you how I would edit a highlight. I would click on one that I've already created, and so I'm clicking on house tours, and in the bottom right corner you can see the little dot and the more, and I'll click right there in order to edit the highlight. And my system's just taking me a second to come up here, but you see this particular highlight just showing different house tours that we've done over time. This one's actually from 34 weeks ago. If you see the top left corner right next to house tours, it shows you the length or how old that particular story is, or that post is. So if I click the bottom right hand corner, I click more, I can hit edit highlight, and on selected you could see all the different highlights that are already, or stories that are already on the highlight, and then I can go to archive, and that'll show me everything, all of my stories over all of time. So I can go through here and select which ones I want to add to that highlight, and I could change the name, I could edit the cover here, do all that fun stuff, and then whenever I'm done, I'll just click done, and it will make all of those changes to my highlight. Kind of touching on some real basic stuff here. I'm just double tapping on a post in my newsfeed, so that's how you would like a post. So you double tap, or you could just single tap that heart itself. Double tap anywhere on the photo to like it. If you wanted to comment, tapping on the add comment section underneath the caption, that'll allow you to leave a comment, or you can tap on that little speech bubble next to the heart. You can also send this post if you wanted to. That little arrow right next to the speech bubble will allow you to send that in a message to anyone who's got an Instagram. So if you click on that little magnifying glass on the bottom panel there, it'll take you to your search page, and at the very top is a search bar, and you could search for pages or people or hashtags or really anything you wanted to on Instagram. But Instagram also gives you this nice page of potential posts that you may potentially like from people that you may be interested in. So like, I like to watch The Bachelor, so I've got people that were on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or whatever in my news feed, or not in my news feed, on my search page. It's also going to give me stuff that I may be interested in buying, and it just picks all this stuff up based on accounts I follow that I interact with regularly, meaning like I comment on their pages or their posts, or I like their posts often, or something like that. If I interact with them often, Instagram's algorithm kind of picks up on all of that and chooses other posts for this search page that I may be interested in. So here we're back on our newsfeed, and I'm just going to show you an example of an ad and what it would look like. So at the top of this post, you can see under the name of the page that posted this, the name of the page is Wayfair, but underneath it, it says sponsored. So that's how you'll always know if something is an ad. Plus you'll get a little colored bar across the bottom of the photo that'll say something like shop now or learn more or something like that. And this is also a great example of having multiple captions for different photos, putting a different caption on each individual photo. So if you see me scroll there, you'll see the different captions for each different photo. And if you click that little shop now button, it will actually allow you to buy straight from Instagram. And that's really all that we touched on this week on Instagram. I know that's kind of all over the place and kind of spotty. That's kind of like a crash course on everything, all the basics that you really need to know going into Instagram and how to use it to its fullest potential. And we'll go even more in depth in the next week, maybe even two, and talk more about the details of everything. So come to the class on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. if you can, and if you can't, there should be another video to cover everything that we cover next week. Thanks, guys.